Assalamu alaikum, Hi Oracle, Reiki spiritual healer, and I requested topic, how to use salt in your everyday life. And so, I thought this was a great question for me to give you some examples of how I use salt with my clients, my everyday clients. So in many cases, when I'm dealing with clients to defend them from negative energy, I'll use salt that I've created. So certain salts I use for money drawing, a money drawing salt. And that salt gets the negative energy off of the person and draws in the good money and the good provisions for that person. I do a healing piece, a healing salt. To give, if there's a lot of chaos with the person in their life concerning their health, this salt is great for that. I'll use this kind of salt, a bath salt. It's good for doing foot washings. It's good for doing anything where negative energy cannot attack itself and to draw in the good energy. So, we have to understand that with these different kinds of salts that I create, I create a stop enemy salt, a stop evil salt, and a black salt. So it's different kinds of ways you can use salt to defend yourself. Many times, some of the people that I defend from negative energy, I can easily make a line of salt across their front door, so negative energy cannot enter from the neighbors, from people entering to cause chaos, or just energy vampires, manipulators. And sometimes you have those type of people in your own home. When you put the salt across your door and you have those type of people in your own home, and I'm talking about manipulators, you want to make sure that you're looking for, these people to identify themselves. They're gonna, get upset that negative energy can't come into the house with them. That negative energy has to sit on the porch or outside till, they go back outside to pick that up. So every time that they enter, if they're living with you, that negative energy will not be able to come inside with them. And they will start being negative. They will start being belittling, controlling, abusive, and manipulating. You can also identify people who have negative intentions for you, because if you have friends, and once you have dressed your front threshold with salt, they will not be able to carry out their mission against you. They will not be able to attack you. A lot of times, if you've made plans, they'll call out. They'll sense that you put that salt across the door, they won't be able to enter. So, it works well for negative people, energy vampires, succubus, or people who just like to, monitor and create chaos. That's their job. A lot of these manipulating people, a lot of these demonic figures in your life, that's what they like to do. And this is how I get rid of a lot of the negative energy dealing with my clients, as well as when we have people that we are aware of. It's easy for me to put some salt in a person's shoe, the stop evil salt, in order to get rid of the negative energy from a person. If they've been foot poisoning, and we've been talking about that, for a couple of weeks now, because for some people, for some reason, people love to throw things down in where people walk at. They love to do that. So, they love to poison people's feet. So you want to use salt. Salt is a way to draw that negative energy out of you. out of your feet, out of your legs. And a lot of times I dress a person's shoes with that salt so that they can, step on the person that is causing them the problems, that is attacking them, that is trying to manipulate them, especially if they know exactly who it is. So, sometimes I'm aware of people who have tried to use manipulating tactics. I can't even get it out. Manipulating tactics, and they call that throwing at a person. Some people have thrown at me, and I've used salt to neutralize and kill the negative energy, and it also helps to return to sender, especially when you know who the person is. A spiritual bath, using salt as a spiritual bath. Before I go on to some places where I'm healing people's land and inside of their homes, I have to, use salt before me and kill that negative energy so I can levitate over that negative energy. So these are some of the ways that we keep out the negative energy, some of the ways that we defend ourselves from the negative energy using salt. Now, we have to also look at, the holy books, the biblical verses, the Holy Quran verses, where it is saying that we're the salt of the earth in the Holy Bible. And it's also saying, both verses in Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife was turned into salt, a pillar of salt. So, we are given these elements in the Holy Bible of how to relinquish evil out of our lives, how to force that negative entity out of our lives, how to keep demonic spirits from following us. We don't want that demonic spirit like Lot's wife. She turned into a pillar of salt. No, you can't go forward in life when you're negative. You can't go forward with the chosen one when you're negative. So salt is a sure way, and it has been given to us by our ancestors, by the holy books, in order to help us as chosen ones to defend ourselves from negative people, entities, demonic persons. And this is what it is to be used for, in order to cleanse our body, in order to cleanse our vessel with salt. You can also, and make sure that you're doing these rituals over your life, over your body. You're praying and have that connection with God, because, we didn't create the salt. God created the salt. And we have to have that, humility about us, that we didn't come here making salt. We didn't come here with the knowledge of how to, make salt and distribute it to the whole world. Then that had to be taught to us. And we have to be grateful that the salt comes from the earth. And we want to praise God under all conditions that he gave us this element to cleanse ourselves. We want to use the holy word in order to cleanse ourselves. Like I say, I like to use the 51 chapter of Psalms when I'm cleansing certain things. When I'm cleansing negative energy from people, the 51 chapters of Psalms works well. The 37 chapter of Psalms works well in order to remove negative energy. Surah Al-Mulk. It does well to cleanse people of negative energy. And we also have in the Holy Quran, Surah Fath. So we want to make sure that we're using what God has given us in the holy books as a spiritual defense. And salt is one of those things that we can use as a spiritual defense to draw in the good and push out the negative, the malignant, or the malevolent forces that have been sent at us, or malignant energy that has been sitting up on you. It can be used to draw out negative energy. That poison in your feet, like I said, you want to use salt. You want to use a salt bath. You want to use the holy water. You want to pray over that. Your bath water, a cup of water. You want to drink some of that holy water that you prayed over to get rid of the negative poison that may have been sent to attack you or harm you in your life. So I hope that this has answered your requested topic about salt, how you can use salt, how I use salt with my clients, you can reach out to me in the description below in order to receive more ways to use salt against negative entities. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm High Oracle, Reiki Spiritual Healer. Assalamu alaikum.